Thank you for tuning in. This is a new SEC podcast. We're talking about South Carolina taking on Virginia Tech. Neutral site game happening right here at the Benz in Atlanta, Georgia. Sunday, August 31st, 3 p.m. Eastern. What are we thinking here at the new SEC podcast for South Carolina's first game of the year?
I think there's a lot of people looking at this game, particularly the spread, and are thinking maybe what's going on here. South Carolina and Lenore Sellers have had an unreal media PR run lately. I mean, the guy, if you didn't know anything about college football, you would think this guy's like Superman, best college player this year. I'm not saying he's not, but when you see a line against Virginia Tech, a team that's going to be probably mediocre at best, 8 points, you wonder what's going on. I think that there's going to be a little bit more work to be done from South Carolina in this game than fans maybe are coming into this thinking. Like they're going to have to earn this win.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to have to earn this win, and I would feel a lot different if they were playing in William Bryce, right? If they're playing in Columbia. Neutral site game. Virginia Tech has a super strong fan base. South Carolina obviously has a strong fan base. Columbia is only a couple hours from Atlanta. I think the crowd will play a factor in this game on both sides, and Virginia Tech does return some decent production from last season as well. The biggest loss is probably going to be by Usul Tutin, the running back last season, over 1,100 yards, top three in the ACC. But South Carolina's offense is going to have to really step up in this game to hit that over.
Yeah, and if I'm Virginia Tech, South Carolina fans are going to come for me on this one. If I'm Virginia Tech, I want to come into this game forcing Lenore Sellers to throw the ball. And it's not because me personally, or if I'm Virginia Tech, that I think he can't throw. I 100% believe he can throw. I think he's improved from last season, especially from the first half of last season. I have concerns with the offensive pieces around him, whether he's going to have the weapons in order to be successful throwing the ball. The offense for South Carolina right now is really him, and now word that Russell Faison is going to be able to play. So those two guys, that's a lot more running than passing, especially statistically, historically.
Yeah, and I think, that's where if I'm a South Carolina fan, I'm going to double down on running the football. Last year, Virginia Tech finished 10th in the ACC when it came to rushing yards per game allowed. So they ultimately were 5th pass defense-wise. So it could be in their favor to try to force Lenore Sellers to pass. But with the 10th rated rush defense, last season, Virginia Tech opened up the year against Vanderbilt. They gave up over 150 rushing yards in that game to an SEC opponent. I'm looking at that game from last year, week 1, and saying, let's double down. Let's run the ball with Racel. Let's run the ball with Lenoris and use that to establish the passing game. Maybe using Faison as in that outside catching passes alongside Harbor. But I would be going at this D-line. I'm going at these linebackers, and I'm really rushing the football to establish the tempo.
As the season goes on, I don't know how far that's going to get South Carolina alone. Throwing the ball, if you listen to our preview, I know it didn't fall on deaf ears. There were a lot of South Carolina fans who watched that one and had some thoughts, and I've seen love for Sellers and what he can do throwing the ball. Heard a lot of maybe it's smoke, maybe it's truth that he's continued to improve this offseason in throwing the ball. I think this is a great game to come out and do it and to test it. You have Nick Harbor trying to get a little bit more, Mazio Bennett, you're trying to get a little bit more run after catch. If you listen to our preview, you heard that the run after catch last season wasn't great. It was really finding a receiver, and that was it. The running was really the highlight of this team. Finding some big plays, you're going to be able to do it against this Virginia Tech defensive room, especially the DBs. Throw the ball, run the ball, do a little bit of everything. But if I'm Virginia Tech, I'm forcing him to throw, and I think South Carolina will adapt to that. And if that's what they're giving them, they're going to take it.
Yeah, I think if that's what they're giving them, they're going to take it, right? They're going to have Jaden Keller and Caleb Woodson, the two leading tacklers from Virginia Tech, running all over the place in this game. That's who Virginia Tech's going to need to kind of count on to try to make stops in this game. On the defensive side for South Carolina and what they're up against with Virginia Tech brings back Kyron Drones. He was expected to have a big season last year. He only had 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. They're going to need to see that 2023 performance from him, 17 tuds, 3 interceptions to have a shot in this game. But what I think influences this line the most is last season, Virginia Tech played a lot of close football. So when I look at some of their key games last year, they lost to Miami by 4. They lost to Rutgers by 3. They lost by 7 to Q's. and they only lost by 10 to Clemson. So again, all losses when it comes from a betting gambling perspective. Tech was 7-6, but they really played a lot of close football.
Yeah. Miami game, you could argue that was they probably won that game. There were some questionable calls in that one, so I almost want to give them the win in that, although it didn't show on the stat sheet. But yeah, Virginia Tech offensively didn't perform to expectations last year. South Carolina defensively this year expected to drop down a peg from what they were last year. They still probably have one of the better, if not the best, SEC defensive player in the SEC in this game. We'll be playing. Test Virginia Tech for some of those turnovers if you're South Carolina. I think that there will be some mistakes from South Carolina or from Virginia Tech. If we see the South Carolina team that started the season last year, we might see some mistakes from them. They really buttoned it up in the second half. I hope that that's more an indication of the freshman coming in, getting his feet under him, and less about a slow start to a season that they're going to repeat this year. I like Virginia Tech. I like South Carolina in this game. I like Virginia Tech to keep it close. So I think this will be a good game in a back-to-back Atlanta game, one on Saturday, one on Sunday.
Yeah, I think in this game, week one, both teams kind of getting their feet wet. No preseason. Obviously, this isn't the NFL. I think South Carolina is tremendously more talented. I think this roster is tremendously more talented. I mean, they're going to have to go against a MAC transfer running back from Bowling Green for Virginia Tech, right? I think that this defense should have the ability to lock down Virginia Tech, but this is a pesky team. And I think it'll be a close game because it's week one, because Tech has proven in the past to stay close in games. And so I have South Carolina 28-21, barely missing covering here, but I do like South Carolina in this game. What's your final prediction?
I like South Carolina in this game. I like them close by 7, 31-24. I know it's not what South Carolina fans want to hear. I know Virginia Tech fans probably want to hear that they can win this game. I think it's a little bit of a close matchup, which isn't going to be the worst thing for South Carolina. A little bit of cold water after a really stellar PR media run this offseason that they're going to be the best team in the SEC. I don't think that they can't be. I think that they have the potential to do that. A little bit of cold water, wake up, Virginia Tech throwing a couple punches wouldn't be the worst thing for this team. But ultimately, I have South Carolina winning this one and moving on 1-0.
1-0. And if you like content like this, please follow, subscribe, drop your predictions below. And this is a new SEC podcast.